know you only have a minute.
I was live. Go. Hi guys, welcome to Being Becca Live. I just wanted to say happy Tuesday. As you guys can see, I am outside today, and I am a little frazzled. That's the word I'm going to use. I'm a little frazzled today. I don't know why. I just kind of am feeling. Like I'm having a lot of different thoughts today at the same time, and I'm having trouble kind of focusing on what it is that I need to be doing in front of me, like this. So I'm going to try and stay here with you guys today. I have things I want to talk to you about, and of course, we are going to get into our topic for today, which is perspective taking. And boy, do I need it today. So we are going to walk through it together. Okay. But before we do that, let me just tell you about why I'm just having an odd day. I usually schedule a lot of stuff. Most of my appointments I try to like in the morning and early afternoon, and then do my writing kind of later in the day. That's sort of what I do. I try not to do any kind of heavy lifting work stuff kind of after 4 o'clock, whatever. Well, yesterday I ended up really, you guys, every time. Okay. And I ended up writing so much later than I usually do yesterday. Hey, Bernard, but I have a lot of projects due that are sort of monthly things and due at the end of the month. So I am half in like 4 different writing projects right now, and that's where most of my brain is at, what I was doing literally just until I turned on the live stream. So pardon that as I try to collect my thoughts. I didn't have much transition time between my writing and doing live streams, so I apologize for that. Hey, Ross. So I'm sort of in that. And as you guys know, tomorrow is my working interview, if you watched Growing Gratitude. So I have that kind of in the background over there. And in general, if you watch Growing Gratitude, I've got a lot of shit going on in my life right now. And so there's many different pockets of my brain kind of thinking about things simultaneously, right? And then, of course, there's that really fun layer of adulting that lays right on top where I have to take care of my well-being and my hygiene and eating and peeing and all that really fun stuff. Hey, Burnett. Hey, Morgan. So nonetheless, I decided that today I just got to do what I got to do today, you guys. So I am not put together. I'm not even wearing a clean sweatshirt. I'm just wearing my sleep sweatshirt. That, because that's where I'm at today. That's where, what my brain and my spoons, where they're at. They're just not in concern about this area over here because everything's going on in here. And I think that happens to us. And sometimes we just have to give into it. So yeah, whatever be. This is what a writer's life looks like for real when you want to know. But yeah, so and I'm sitting outside because I wanted to show you guys what we've been up to kind of on a side piece to our whole adventure in life right now. So as you can see behind me, there's some, what is it called? It's like chicken wire, chicken fence, I guess is what it's called. Another one, another one. I swear to you guys, I don't hear a thing all day long. I hear nothing until I come out here to do a live stream. Okay? I feel like it's personal. I just want you to know that. All right. So we are currently sitting in, or I am currently sitting in, and you are watching me sit in, our new to be catio. That's right, you guys. We are using some chicken wire to close in this whole area, you guys. Sorry for the sunshine, but yeah. Oh, there you go. You can see the chicken wire. So we're closing in this whole area. We have to do the top part, as you can see there. But yeah, so we are doing that whole thing. They're going to have a huge catio so that they can come outside and just enjoy themselves, but be safe from predators because I live in Colorado and we've got predators. So yeah, that's where I'm at today, because I wanted to share that with you guys because I know I always sound like I'm doing so many things and I'm always telling you guys to create joy and seek joy and share joy and all the joys, right? And this is part of what I do for my joy, right? Just knowing that the end of the project will mean Antonio and I sitting inside the catio with the cats bathing in the sunshine and all the things that they deserve from a life in Colorado, is joy to me. And so it takes a little work to create that joy, but I talked to you about it, and I talked to you about sharing your joy. So that's a little piece of my current joy. That is the joy piece that is happening alongside all of these writing deadlines and all of the life changes that I shared with you guys on Growing Gratitude. If you did not see that Growing Gratitude and nothing I'm talking about is making sense to you right now, I will put a link to last week's Growing Gratitude. Or whatever, it was a couple of days ago, is Growing Gratitude, in the link to this video, so you can go back and watch and know what the heck I'm talking about. But in any case, so I just wanted to share that little bit of joy with you guys. And then, yeah, I wanted to talk about sort of my day so far and get into perspective taking, because here's what happened to me so far today. So I thought I was in good shape, right? I have an odd day with all of my appointments scheduled in the afternoon, so how was I going to take advantage of this morning and all of that stuff? Well, Antonio had to go down the mountain today. He had a doctor's appointment for his finger, and he had to do the shopping for the food truck, and that has to happen on Tuesdays, because on Wednesdays he goes to the commissary to cook everything. So he was going to be off doing that this morning, and I thought, oh, okay, well, he gets up and feeds the dog, and then he leaves. So when he leaves, I can go back to sleep for a little bit. I don't have to get out of bed. I can sleep a little later this morning. Well, I think it bit me in the feet, ladies and gentlemen, the little sleeping late. So I slept for an extra 45 minutes. That was what sleeping late was to me. And that I didn't get out of bed when I usually get out of bed and start doing routine stuff, blah, blah, but I let myself sleep in a little bit. Well, I think it has me all off today. I think just, breaking my routine, even that small amount, getting up because I needed the extra sleep, but getting up late has sort of set me into like a weird funk for the day. Like, everything feels off. And so what I needed to do for myself was sort of figure out what was going on so that I could stop being mean to myself for this day of feeling like I'm so unfocused and like I don't know what to do with my morning and I can't corral my thoughts and all of that stuff. And so perspective taking is an important piece in what I do to myself, for myself all the time. And it's something I want to talk to you guys about because it goes hand in hand with what we talked about last week, which is the catastrophic thinking, right? One of the ways to kind of combat that catastrophic thinking is to do perspective taking. And that's something that coping mechanisms that we have, and it helps us to break a lot of them and figure out what's really going on. So remember how I talked about how catastrophic thinking, really, you think the worst is always going to happen. You're prepared for the worst all the time. And what happens is a lot of the time when we do that, we draw those negative actions towards us and actually create what I call a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? We do that self-fulfilling prophecy thing where we think, oh my God, the worst is going to happen. And then because we've thought it so hard, we've kind of thought it into being, right? And so there's this great saying in the personal development community: thoughts become things, right? That's the concept behind manifestation, right? When you really think and concentrate and put your energy into something, you manifest it. Well, that goes for the good and the bad, you guys. So when we do this catastrophic thinking, right, what we are doing really is manifesting these negative things to happen, right? And if instead we do a little perspective taking and we look at the situation and notice that it's really probably not going to be all bad, it may not be all great, right? But it doesn't have to be bad or great. It can be somewhere in the middle, right? And if we take perspective and say, well, I can't really know how this thing is going to go, right? Because I can't know that. I can't know it's going to go bad, and I can't know it's going to go well. So what I'm going to do is just go and see how it goes, right? Instead of that pre-planning that we do in our heads, or that prophesizing, I guess, about how it's going to go down, what we need to do is be honest with the fact that we have no control over it and that we don't know how it's going to go. And all we have control over is our response, right? And so very quickly we can shift our perspective and how we're looking at situations. And when we do that, we cut back on those negative thoughts that bring negative things to us, and we allow in more of those positive thoughts that bring positive things to us, right? Okay, so this morning I did the exact opposite of that. So first thing, I woke up, I was all off because I slept a little bit extra, right? And then things just proceeded to go wrong, right? I messed up making coffee. I left the door open for the cats, almost got out. Oh, the dogs vomited deer poop today, and I had to clean it up. So that's kind of how my morning really went, right? So I went to sleep sort of like, oh, it's going to be this great morning, or maybe I can do this thing. But reality set in, and it didn't turn into that. And so my brain automatically went into that catastrophic thinking. My brain automatically went into, oh, these shitty things just happened. Today is going to be a bad day. So you see, I wrote off the entire day because I was already having hardships in the morning instead of looking at it in a different way. And the right way to look at it, or not the right way, but the better way to look at it is to say, oh, I've had such a shitty morning. Well, maybe this afternoon will be better. What can I do to reorganize my day or add things to my day so that it gets better? How can I participate in the better making of my day instead of focusing on how shitty my morning was and dragging that shitty morning with me throughout the rest of the day, right? Um, and so that was about perspective taking, right? My brain really naturally wants to see all the negative. That's what my brain is used to looking at. That's what it finds in everything, right? Because that's the way I kept myself safe for years. I kept myself safe that way, right? And so habitually, my brain will go there when things are going badly. And I have to retake control of my thoughts and say, wait a second, if I really look at it and I step back from my own life and I'm not the participant in it and I look at it, I would say to myself, yeah, it was a shitty morning, but maybe this afternoon will be better. And that's a far healthier way to look at my day. It makes the most of my day and my spoons instead of dragging my whole day down by looking at it through a negative perspective, right? Likewise, when we have really bad experiences or fights with people, or we have to quit a job, or any number of things go poorly for us, right? We should, in those moments, test our ability in perspective taking, right? We must look at those things and say, what does this thing have to teach me? Why is it going down that way? What do I have to learn here? Instead of saying, I did this thing badly. Every time I do a thing, it will go badly. My whole life is going to suck. Catastrophic, 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 right? Um, and so, really, perspective taking is the logical way to respond, right? It's what should appeal to our brains. Because the logical thing when you are looking at a scenario that needs a solution is to step back and look at the big picture, right? And so that's essentially what we need to do in our lives. Just step back and look at the big picture, especially when we're feeling really rutted into a narrow space like that, like I was feeling this morning, right? Um, and so we need to make sure that we're not so close to it that we can't see the whole thing, right? We must step back and take perspective. And that is something, this is perspective taking is something I have now waited. I think it's been a solid month that I've been talking about it to talk to you about because all of these other things came up. Well, what I can say is, oh, I'm so annoyed that I had to wait so long to talk about perspective taking with you guys. Somebody could have been helped a month ago with this information, right? But at the same time, if I step back and take perspective, what I have to say is there may have been other things in those other live streams that somebody needed to learn sooner, right? And maybe that's why I had to talk about all of those things first, or all of those things had to happen. Or maybe I needed to wait all this time for this perspective taking live stream for this to hit the person that it's reaching to at the right time, right? So instead of being annoyed that I had to postpone perspective taking so much, right? What I can do is say, well, no, I had to delay it for it to reach the right person, right? That's why it was delayed, right? And when I look at it that way, it becomes magical, right? It's a magical thing that it got delayed instead of this nuisance, this annoyance, right? And I just want us to know how often we don't use perspective taking, how often we dismiss it. And we just keep focusing in and focusing in and focusing in, when we could save ourselves a lot of spoons, and make much more of our lives better if we would take a moment to step back and take perspective, right? How quickly, when we rewrite our situations, how quickly we can see how different it really is, right? Reality is from the conversation that our brain creates for us, right? That conversation is something in our control, but only if we decide to consciously take control of it. If you don't, it goes off on its own, right? It's like an unleashed puppy is what's happening in there. And what we want to do is train that puppy, right? I don't need to look at things always negative. I don't need to. In fact, I should look at them as positively as possible. So I do a lot of perspective taking throughout my whole day, of rewriting situations and understanding that there are that not everything is in my control, right? And when it works out a certain way, it's up to me to decide how to respond to it. And it's my response and the way that I respond that actually shows the world who I am as a person. Not the things that happen to me, but rather my response to those things that shows people who I really am inside. Right. And that's what we need to be working at. Right. It's instead of concentrating so much on the actual acts and things that occur, right? The actual occurrences. What we need to focus on is our response to those occurrences. And when we get those right, we are living truly in alignment, right? Because we can't control the other pieces, but we can control our response. Let me catch up over here. Yes, breaking my routine, Bernard says, it throws his entire day off. It does. It's just so weird. And it's weird the things that you think aren't really routine, like what time you get up, and yet they are, right? Okay. So Laura says, this was the right time for me. I had a catastrophic meltdown this past Thursday, or catastrophic thinking meltdown this past Thursday. And this has helped me realize to not throw away my existing spoons in spite of each small event. Yay! Congratulations, Laura. Apparently this was your live stream. I'm so excited. But you see, right? That's what I mean. Maybe Laura wouldn't have been watching on those other particular live streams, right? Maybe she wouldn't have caught the perspective taking, or maybe because it would have been before that catastrophic thinking meltdown, it wouldn't have meant as much, right? And so here's how that stuff can flip on us, right? And I have another student who's actually just finished the SDL course, and I'm not going to name names, but this person had some band practice, right? And the usual routine for her inside of the band practice would be to practice until everyone else says they're done, right? So, she hit the 4-hour mark there in practice, and she was just really beat and out of spoons, and just knowing that she was done. And old her would have just kept going because everybody else was still going, right? New her said, look, you guys, I'm beat. It's been 4 hours. I got to go. And everyone else said, all right, no problem. And they packed up their stuff and went. And why I tell you this story is when we look at it from that client's perspective, right? It's about, I'm tired, but I don't think everybody else is. So I better just push through, right? Enjoy the rest of your day, Burnett. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it. And so, yeah, so that was the thinking, right? To make everybody else comfortable, right? Now, when I talked about it, I said, well, what about everybody else? What if they were all doing the same thing? Like, what if all the other members of the band thought the same thing at 4 hours? They were tired, but they don't want to say anything out loud because everyone else seems to still be going, right? So now imagine everyone in the band is doing that. And because nobody has said out loud, I'm done and tired, they keep going for another 2 hours. And then everybody is exhausted the next day. And everybody stayed those extra 2 hours just because, right? Nobody said anything. We take a little perspective and we look at it that way and we go, well, it's a gosh darn good thing that she said something out loud. She spared everybody working extra, right? And so when we look at perspective and we step back and look at the whole situation rather than just our very personal part in it, we can see the reality, and we can see that it's not as catastrophic as we think it is, right? And that these small events, these small occurrences do not have to color our whole day, our whole week, our whole month, our whole life, right? We don't have to allow it to perpetuate. We can control that. We can do something with it. And it's with that thought, you guys, that I am going to say I am out of here because I have to get back to writing. I have many projects I'm in the middle of. And I will just take these last few minutes to remind you guys to head over to my website and check out all of the stuff that I have there. You can sign up for the monthly musings there, which I'm working on today. You can sign up for which is my newsletter. You can sign up for the course. Of course, all the recordings are out. You can check out the seminars. All those recordings are out. And of course, social media, Ko-Fi page, Redbubble, the whole deal. It's all on my website, which is beccalaurie.com. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all I have going on this week. I'm pretty much trying to focus on my end of the month stuff. And so that's what I'll be working on for you guys. So stuff like Asking Spectrum Women, the newsletter, a couple of podcast recordings, things like that. And of course, all my writing and jazz that I have to do for June. So while I'm doing that, you guys feel free to let me know what you think about this content. Please share with me your thoughts on perspective taking and catastrophic thinking. I would love to see that in the comments or in an email directly to me at info@beccalaurie.com. Of course, I always appreciate your thumbs up and thumbs down. They let me know what I'm doing with this content and where I should be heading or not. And then, of course, sharing the channel with people, sharing the stream with people, sharing my work with people is beyond appreciated. There are many more people that you know than I know. So I appreciate you sharing my work. I thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today on Being Becca Live. I will be back next Tuesday at the same time for the next Being Becca Live. And then, of course, I'll be here on Sunday at 8 a.m. with Growing Gratitude. And you guys can catch that where I talk about the things that I'm grateful for. It should be interesting this week, I think. It's just Tuesday and I have stuff on my list, so I'm excited. Until then, you guys, I will see you out and about on the interwebs. Have an amazing day. Go out there and seek joy, create joy, share joy, all the joys. And I will see you on Sunday for Growing Gratitude. Bye.